And tonight on the Daily Wrap, the Kentucky clerk who refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples was released from jail earlier in rock star fashion with GOP presidential candidate Mike Huckabee by her side. And after the Pope made it easier for couples to get a divorce, many are wondering if he's becoming too liberal. And we have the latest on the Hillary Clinton email scandal, and it ain't pretty. This is the Daily Wrap live from New York City. And hello there, I'm Joe Conscious, sleep deprived, along with my co-host Rick Unger. How are you?
Well, much better than you. I had lots of sleep over the past couple of days. You, on the other hand, I suspect had none.
No, barely any. I read on the Twitter you actually got 12 hours of sleep one night.
I did one night. It was fantastic, and yet, wouldn't you know it, all the news held off until today. Wasn't that nice?
It did, and then perfectly for this show, because we're talking Kim Davis.
Right. Quite a day.
And you have a couple things to say about that.
Yeah, and it's not over yet.
Okay, very good. And to his right, she's a Philly attorney and America's pundit. Heather Hansen is back and well tanned, I might add. Yes, and finally, indeed. To her right, he's the editor of the WisdomDaily.com, and you're not. Brad Hirschfield.
He's well tanned
once
also.
Again.
I am.
You are, aren't you?
What's with all you these tans?
Vacation. It's good.
Yeah, well, we had 4 days off, so that helped. Okay, let's get right to the Daily Download, shall we?
Would you please help me welcome to the stage Kim Davis.
Okay, that was the scene today in Kentucky as Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis was released from jail after serving 5 days for refusing to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. She did so on religious grounds.
The injunction is the order that you're supposed to issue marriage licenses.
And we're not issuing marriage
The
licenses
Supreme
today.
Court denied your stay.
We are not issuing marriage licenses today. So
Based on what?
I would ask you all to
Why are you not
go
issuing
ahead
marriage
and
licenses today?
Because I'm not.
Under
Why?
whose authority are you not issuing
Under
licenses?
God's authority.
I don't
Did
believe
God
in your
tell you
God.
to do this? Did God
I
tell
don't
you
believe
to
in your
treat
God.
us?
I don't
like
believe in your
this?
I've
God.
asked you all to leave. You are interrupting my
You can call the
business.
police if you want us to leave.
And presidential hopeful, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee was also on hand to come to Davis's defense, while maybe doing just a little bit of politicking as well.
It is far more than one clerk saying she will not issue marriage licenses. It's that every one of us will have to decide whether or not we want to keep this great republic or whether we're willing to sacrifice it and surrender it to tyranny. And I think we gather here today to say we will not surrender to the tyranny of one branch of government.
And if you like that, here's a bit more from Governor Huckabee.
Let Kim go. But if you have to put someone in jail, I volunteer to go. Let me go. Lock me up if you think that's how freedom is best served. Because, folks, I am willing to spend the next 8 years in the White House leading this country, but I want you to know I'm willing to spend the next 8 years in jail, but I'm not willing to spend one day under the tyranny of people who believe they can take our freedom and conscience away.
Well, he should have the time. I don't think he'll be in the White House. The terms of Davis's release requires that she do nothing to stop her assistant clerks who have agreed to issue marriage licenses to anybody who chooses to apply. Should she interfere, she would presumably be required to return to jail. Now, were Ms. Davis's religious rights abused in this case, or was she wrong to refuse to follow the Supreme Court's ruling that same-sex marriages are legal under the U.S. Constitution? Joe Concha, that's a question made for you.
Made for me?
Yeah,
I thought it was more made for Hansen, if anything else.
Well, we're going to get to Hansen.
She's the lawyer.
No, we're getting to Hansen in just a moment.
Okay.
I have a special question.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Look,
Yeah, look at me.
I'm not Star Jones. I'm not a lawyer. All right. However, I know the human side to this is what's compelling people and what's
Well,
drawing
were her
them to
religious
this.
rights abused?
Yes, I believe so, only because the Supreme Court ruled 25 years after she became a county clerk. So to suddenly tell her that she shouldn't follow what she believes is the law that she ultimately stands under, which is the law of God.
Let me draw a comparison. So a slave owner who had their slaves for 25 years before slavery was outlawed by the court should have absolutely been permitted to keep their slaves.
That's 1865. You're
don't
using a
care.
hypothetical from 150 years
I'm
ago.
using another Supreme Court case.
It's not.
I understand.
That's not a
Take
religious-
them off
I'm
the hook.
talking about
It's
the
not a-
human element of
But it's
things.
Take
not
them
a
off the
religious
hook.
objection. That wasn't a religious objection.
Well,
Here,
so it's different. We only listen to the Supreme Court when it's a religious objection, but we don't listen or don't listen
the
to it.
Supreme Court has said that when you become a public official, you don't lose your constitutional rights. You have a First Amendment right to exercise your religion. There are ways that her rights could have been accommodated and yet not infringed in even the teeniest way on anyone's 14th Amendment rights. Every one of these same-sex couples could have come in
Well,
just as
apparently
they
there's
did
not
here.
a way. I
Well,
mean, that's
there's
actually what
many
she.
ways.
Wait, what she's asking for now is a way where they change the law in Kentucky so that an assistant clerk or somebody else can sign it. At this moment, in fact, there is no way because her title, her clerk, has to be on a marriage certificate.
The Kentucky governor could enter an executive order
yes.
tomorrow
Yes.
to allow this so that they could
Well,
accommodate
actually,
her.
that's
for
not clear that he could. I mean, the
I-
legislature certainly could.
Right, but he could enter an executive order, much like our president has done, to make this be, because they don't come back into
You think it's legal
session
for him to
until,
do that?
yes,
You do.
absolutely. And I think that then that way, her rights have been accommodated. We've seen the same thing in North Carolina. In North Carolina, the law is written so that people who have an objection step aside, someone else steps right in, there's no delay,
So, Brad,
everyone gets what they need.
Brad, so let's say that the governor of Kentucky follows Heather's lead and signs that executive order tomorrow, changing the law to work for Kim Davis. Should we now expect county officials all over America to be looking for anything that might offend their religious beliefs and asking their governor to change the laws?
I think they probably already are, but the real decision
Really?
here is,
Why? Based on
because
what do you think
when
that
people
for?
talk about a war against Christianity, that
Well, no,
feeling
no,
is
no,
out
no.
there. So, wait, Rick, you asked
No.
a question, let me answer for
No,
you.
no, no, no. You
Let's
said
not
you think there
flog
are. You
this
need to
here.
be specific.
I just did.
No, you didn't.
Let's not flog this on air the way Mike Huckabee did from that stage. The truth is the governor decided to flog it and play the Christian tyranny card, and now we're assuming that any accommodation to people of Christian faith somehow undermines constitutional
So a judge
freedom.
was told.
Neither is true.
Let me get
we
in
can
here.
actually
Let me get
solve
in
this
here,
if we
please.
want
A
to.
judge was told, I believe it was in Texas, that the Ten Commandments could no longer stay in front of the courthouse building
Oklahoma.
because
That was
Oklahoma, thank
Oklahoma,
you,
yeah.
because it was a violation of separating church and state. So under your assessment, the judge should have been able to say, well, they were here before I got here, and I'm okay with them, and it offends my religious rights to do my job without them. No, we're not going to listen to that judge. They stay. Joe?
No, I guess you don't want the answer.
go
But
ahead.
no, they're not analogous situations. And in fact, the better case here is the case in Florida, where the response was, alongside the bench that honored the Ten Commandments and other religious traditions that are part of American law and American culture, was an invitation to secular groups to honor Greek philosophy, Native American thought, and the other traditions. The bottom line is this is ultimately about
That's
one
not-
question.
I'm sorry, but
Do
it's
you
not the
think
same.
you have to get rid of other people's views you don't like to secure yours? It turns out that right now, a segment of the Christian community and the secularist community would both rather banish each other to feel good,
No,
as
I
opposed to
agree with
looking
that.
for a way
I
to
agree.
widen the
But
public square. And that's what we need to do.
I agree with you and the last thing you said, but it's a different issue when we can't just skirt by the other issue.
What's the alternative, I guess, is the question.
The alternative
She
is that you
resigns?
have to follow. Well, that's always been the alternative.
She's done it for 26 years, though. She
So
earns
what?
$64,000 a
didn't-
year.
It
What
didn't
do you want her to do?
I want her to follow her conscience. That's what she says this is
She
all
is
about.
following her conscience.
No, she's not. She's not doing the job she was elected to do. Now, she has the opportunity to say, my conscience will no longer, after 25 years, 26 years, won't allow me to do the job. I understand.
But
then
the job
go
isn't
do
laid out
another
the same
job.
way it was
If
25
you
years
can
ago when she first took
accommodate
it.
her- Rick, if you can
Rick,
accommodate
here's an easy
law.
accommodation. Let her
you can-
finish this term
I
potentially and
gotta
not stand
go.
for
We'll continue
re-election.
with that. We're going
That,
to
I think,
continue
makes some
this into
sense.
the next segment. Are you more likely to vote for Mike Huckabee after today's rally? Let us know who you pick for the 2016 GOP nomination by going to newsmaxpolls.com. Coming up, we're going to continue with this, and maybe Donald Trump is getting a dose of his own medicine. Stay tuned.